All right, we're going to go right now to Dr. Ahluwalia. Sona, good morning to you. You're over there with Lisa Brecken. This is good stuff because you're talking to a guy who eats so many nuts and so much olive oil.
He does.
I'll live forever, right?
Sadly, yeah, probably. He'll never retire.
Yeah, Lisa was just showing me a picture without your shirt, and I'm very impressed.
Oh, no, hey. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
That's going to go viral.
That is the result of eating lots of nuts and olive oil and fish right there.
Looks amazing.
Look at that.
Yeah. I wish I was like that.
Lean.
Oh, stop.
He's
okay.
lean.
The Mediterranean diet.
So the diet. So what's new about this? Because I thought we've kind of known this for a while, that the Mediterranean diet is really good for our bodies.
Right. So all the studies done so far were all retrospective. That means we asked people, what did you eat before? We asked them, did you have heart disease? Did you have a heart attack? Did you have problems? Did you have a stroke? So those are traditionally considered unreliable, right? They're not as reliable. So this was the first study they did in Barcelona, where they took a bunch of people and they asked them to eat a Mediterranean diet. Okay. Now, Mediterranean diet means fish, right? Veggies, fruit.
Saturated in olive oil.
Olive oil and legumes, right? Okay. So this is sort of the Mediterranean diet. So Mediterranean is Greeks, Spain and Italy, that kind of a diet. Yep. And they also asked them to eat nuts, and they also gave them olive oil, a bottle a week, and they had to eat at least 4 teaspoons a day. And then they had another group where they asked them to eat a low-fat diet. And they compared the two groups, and they actually had to stop the study early. It was a 5-year study. They stopped it early because there was so much difference between the two groups.
Really?
Yeah. There was a 30% reduction in the incidence of heart attacks, stroke, and death from heart disease. That's pretty significant,
huge.
Yeah. The issue, though, is, you know, every study has its kind of downsides. And we don't know if the low-fat group actually stuck to the low-fat diet, right? We don't know that because these were people who were eating a regular diet. The other concern is that the risk of heart disease in the Mediterranean area is lower than ours anyway. So is that confounding in any way, right? But the most important lesson we learned from this is that not all calories are equal. We used to say, eat less calories and that's good for you. Yeah. But these people had no caloric restriction.
And those things all have high calorie tags.
Right. And the best part is that you were allowed to drink wine. There was no restriction.
And there you go.
So it's all good, you know.
Sounds good.
And the thing is, you know, it's tasty food. Just because you're on a sensible diet doesn't mean that you don't eat tasty food. So I think that's very important.
May I jump in with a question?
Yes, please.
For many years, you know that the medical establishment was behind the idea that fat is what the problem was, and so people were on a high carbohydrate, very low fat diet. This is a reversal of thinking entirely.
Yeah, I think we've recognized this for a while, that the Mediterranean diet is pretty effective, and it may be because of the fish, it may be because of the nuts, it may be because of the olive oil. We are not sure, and maybe just a combination. Well, but the most important thing, Steve, is that we eat so much processed food in our country, which is absent in the Mediterranean. And I think that's the important thing.
If your grandmother didn't have it, don't eat it, they say. If it wasn't around then.
If your grandma didn't recognize it, don't eat it.
I eat a lot of nuts. I also work with a lot of nuts. Does that help as well?
Steve, you know what? You go ahead, because all I have to do is flip it around.
Thank you.
I'm just saying.
How about sleep?
This is a healthy nut.
Yeah, okay, so the sleeping stuff, there's a study, and it shows that this affects your genes. And what does that do?
Well, you know, we've always recognized that lack of sleep affects, you know, makes you obese, has a higher incidence of heart disease, makes it, you know, difficult driving and concentrating and doing specific tasks. So this is a study where they looked at individuals who had
like 10 hours of sleep
and less than 5 hours of sleep, and they looked at their genetic makeup, and they realized that certain genes are changed. Now, certain genes change during the, you know, sleep-wake cycle, but these changed in a manner that was detrimental to the body.
Such as?
So circadian rhythm, which means wake-sleep cycle, your metabolism, you know, heart function, things like that. So these are things that are intrinsic to the functioning of our body, and makes sense that if these were affected, then our actual body processes would be affected. So don't think it's just a temporary thing. It may be longer than what you think it is.
And sadly, Steve, I asked him because, you know, for years and years and years, when you do an early morning job, like a lot of us do here, you know, sleep aids had been the way of life for me until recently. And I think that probably does.
But also, Lisa, the other thing is that people who sleep less, they rely on coffee coffee and sleeping pills.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, hello.
So I think that itself is not healthy. So we don't know exactly how much sleep you need, but probably not less than 5 hours and probably not more than 9 hours.
Okay.
So somewhere between 7 and 9 is the right medium, and everybody needs a little bit different.
Okay, Dr. Ahluwalia, thank you so much. And
Thank
again,
you.
Steve, he said not bad. I'm just letting you
Stop
know.
it.
I said very good.
Next time you come in, you know, we go round and round on the coffee issue, and as you know, the take on coffee's health issues have changed over time. Can you do a whole report on that for us, Dr.
Absolutely.
Coffee.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you. I look forward to that. He said as he drinks his green tea, his coffee, and his water.
I know, and I have coffee right here.
Okay.
So-
I switched
Thank
to tea
you.
at this hour.